Hello guys, Winston here. For about a year now, I've been using a slim fold Tyvek wallet in my everyday carry. I love it because of how little space it takes up. Even when it's loaded with half a dozen cards and some cash, it's still thinner than an empty leather wallet. Tyvek has traditionally been considered a strong material. It's used to wrap anything from houses to people to packages. It resists tearing and stretching far better than any plastic wrap because it's a sheet of fused non-directional fibers. Unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, and Tyvek is no exception. Eventually, regular wear and tear will leave Tyvek wallets fraying and hole-ridden. Because the slim fold wallet has a bill of materials that's basically 3 lines long, it's actually pretty recyclable, but replacing it costs a bit more. Even for off-brand Tyvek wallets, you're looking at $10 to $15 for a product with a limited lifespan. I think we can do better, and with a CNC at our disposal, there's no reason why we can't cut out our own wallets. The only real problem though is that Tyvek is flexible, like paper. An end mill isn't the best tool to use, and a drag knife attachment can cost a fair amount of money. You could use a laser, but because Tyvek is a synthetic material, you'd want to use it outside with generous ventilation, and maybe next time. I opted for a more low-tech solution, creating a plywood mask that I could trace with an X-Acto knife. I created an SVG template after reverse engineering the slim fold design and making a couple of improvements. The biggest one was adding an extra fold that would thicken the bottom edge of the wallet, the most heavily worn area on my old one. I designed the template for A4 sheets of Tyvek, the most reasonably sized and priced product that I could find. Luckily for the purposes of my research, it looks like someone had already determined the best thickness of material to use. This is a metric that I wouldn't have had control over if I'd used USPS envelopes or Tyvek coveralls as my source of material. After importing my SVG into MakerCam, I created the G-code for my cutting mask and knocked out a prototype. I had to do a little sanding after the program finished because I'm using some tragically cheap plywood from Home Depot. Once I had the template ready, I taped a sheet of Tyvek to it so it wouldn't move around. Taking care to cut my rounded corners relatively smoothly, I had the beginnings of a Tyvek wallet in just a few minutes. Using a ruler to make straight creases, I folded up my wallet to see how it looked. So far so good. I looked for some sort of thin plastic sheeting that I could use to reinforce the back of my wallet. At first I thought I could use a screen protector, but it wasn't wide enough. I ended up slicing a polypropylene binder pocket for the job. Then it was up to my sewing machine to stitch my wallet together. You only need 5 straight seams to make one of these wallets, so pretty much anyone should be able to make one. Of course, it helps if you're paying attention. I folded up my wallet backwards and then sewed it together in the wrong order. You're supposed to sew the center seams first before folding it in half and stitching the outer seams. This wallet is useless because it won't fit any cash. No matter, because the prototype only cost me less than $1 in materials. I quickly cut out another sheet and sewed it together properly. Tyvek wallets start out a little stiff, and it takes a few days for them to stretch in the right places to accommodate a thicker stack of cards. But so far, my first prototype seems to be working well. There are some minor things I need to fix, like increasing the margin to the left of my ID window, but until I get around to that, this one will do well enough. Next time I'll also trace out straight lines to follow with my sewing machine. My improvised stitching doesn't look that great up close. And that's all I have for today. I hope you guys found this short project interesting. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be back in a couple weeks with some other random Shapeoko assisted project.